Hello everyone and welcome to the district. I'm School Board Member Mark McGlashan. It's that time of year when students start counting down the days of school. That also means end of the year planning for staff and the district's employees recognition ceremony. And joining me to tell more about that ceremony is Superintendent Eric Liskey, and thanks for being with us again today, Mr. Liskey. Remind me a little bit about what all the recognitions are that take place at the end of the year. I know there's a lot.
Yeah, well, the end of the year staff recognition luncheon is a big deal, and it's been part of our tradition as we close out the school year for quite some time. In particular, it's an opportunity for the district and the Davison Educational Foundation to recognize those teachers and support person of the year. Also award the DEF mini grants to teachers and the professional scholarships that professional staff apply for this time of the year.
Well, we couldn't do this all without sponsors, and I know the Davison Educational Foundation is an important sponsor of this event. Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely. Well, the Davison Educational Foundation has been sponsoring our Teachers of the Year, our Support Person of the Year, the professional scholarships that our professional staff write grant applications for, as well as the teacher mini grants that go right into the classrooms to help enhance teaching and learning, which it ties directly into the mission of Davison Educational Foundation.
Well, we'll talk with DEF President Todd Ferguson a little later in the show to find out a little more about the Davison Educational Foundation and what it does to support Davison staff and students. But while we're on the subject of the end of the year activities, when and where can you tell us about the graduation ceremonies for the high school and the alternative ed?
You bet. As you mentioned, Mr. McGlashan, the kids are starting to count down the days to the end of the year, and especially our seniors.
Yeah.
So we have two special graduations planned again this year. And for our traditional Davison High School students, that graduation ceremony is June 5th at the Dordt Federal Event Center in Flint at 7 o'clock.
And get there a little early because it's really a busy night there.
It is a busy night, and the parking lot gets filled, the arena gets filled, but it's certainly a memorable event for those students and their families. And then we also have a little smaller scale celebration for our alternative high school graduates, and that ceremony is June 7th. It's a Wednesday evening in the UD Auditorium at Davison High School, which is always a fun event as well.
Yeah, I always love going to that event. It is inspiring. There's a lot of great stories that come out of there, and I always feel inspired when I leave there. So look forward to those two events. It'll be really nice.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next month.
You bet. Thank you.
Davison Middle School students recently had a visit from the Boys in Blue. That's the Michigan State Police. They stopped in to teach students about social media and cyberbullying. It was a great learning opportunity for the kids.
Kids are getting themselves in a lot of trouble. Kids from schools around the state getting themselves charged with sometimes up to felonies for things that they're doing through social media, inappropriate photographs, text messages, social website postings, things like that I don't even think they realize that there's stiff penalties involved with them. So we want the kids to know what the laws are so they can keep themselves out of trouble.
Well, coming up, a huge all-star football game is headed to Davison. The details just ahead.
You've seen DTV News as well as DTV Sports, but now get ready for our behind-the-scenes team, DTV Digital. This year's DTV Digital team is back and better than ever. Our team has the best talent it's ever had this year.
Put 'em up.
First, we have our hotshot digital director, Abby O'Neill. Next, we have our assistant director, charming chef, and amazing narrator, cool guy, Chris Kaiser. And finally, we have the operations director. It's your boy, C-Phil, Calzone, Calvin, Shark Boy Phillips. Oh yeah, and there's Blake.
Hey, Blake.
What?
He's a freshman. DTV Digital, we make the cut.
Our team has the best talent it's ever had this year. Wait, this is this year. And we only have 4 people. One of them's a freshman.
Welcome back to the District on DTV. Football athletes are coming from all over the county for the Genesee County Football All-Star Game coming up on June 10th. DTV's Riley Wilcox has that story.
It's every football coach's dream to choose the best high school senior football players in the area to play for their team.
Guys, we're going to take Graham Hungerford.
They had the opportunity to do so at this year's second annual Flint Area All-Star Game Draft hosted at Little Caesars in Davison.
All right, we're going to take Cam Tomzak from Davison.
The kids that you'll see drafted are for sure some of the kids that are the best leaders and the best teammates in the area.
These include 8 DHS football players. On Team Rise, Kyle Domowski, Colin McMillan, Cam Tomzak, Graham Hungerford, Cran Thornton, and Austin Henderson. On Team Grind, Justin Bishop and Ryan Schlack.
Kyle Domowski.
I'm playing with 6 other of my teammates that I've played at Davison, so I'm really excited to connect with them, get on the field for one more time.
We're stacked, and I think we'll secure the win.
This competition is not just fun and games. The All-Star Game has partnered with Mission 22, an organization that raises awareness and help for veterans.
It shows kids that football is a great platform to help people, and this one really hits home because we have coaches on our own staff that have served.
It affects me because I know I'm playing for something more than just myself. Like, I am playing for a cause. This padding up has some sense of morale to it.
These athletes from the Flint area will be playing and representing Team Rise and Team Grind, as well as spreading awareness for Mission 22, June 10th here at the Cardinal Stadium. Riley Wilcox, DTV Sports.
Rolls her out to the far sideline before finally cutting up the middle and lowers his shoulder.
On May 3rd, the Davison High School Athletic Department held a college signing ceremony. 19 DHS student athletes signed letters of intent to their respective colleges. These seniors signed from all sports, including football, volleyball, baseball, softball, soccer, track, bowling, and lacrosse. Congratulations to everyone who signed. The Davison High School Music Department put on the 52nd annual musical to end April. This year, the students performed the Broadway comedy Spam-A-Lot. It was another successful year and left the audience laughing all night. DTV talked to one of the cast members about how much hard work went into preparing for opening night.
Preparation really starts, it started last year, early December. We have to start preparing our audition songs, and then early January is when we audition. And then we've been working since the end of January to get this ready. Just the past 2 weeks, we've been going to 10:30 at night. We get out late, she keeps us as long as she needs us. Now that it's actually coming together and it's show night, I'm proud of what we've done.
The King, Arthur King, the biggest and the coolest thing.
Who's the king?
You are!
Who's the king?
You are! ARTHUR!
And a great job to all who performed this year. The annual Davison High School Art Show took place on May 4th. Students showcased their creations from the semester, including pottery, paint, sketch, and photography. The exhibit was open to the public. And still ahead, we talked to the president of the Davison Educational Foundation, learn what DEF is all about and the goals he has for the foundation. It was a red carpet night for DTV recently. We'll show you how they fared at the Student Emmys.
DTV Sports, bringing you the action.
Sports, something no one can live without, the spirit of competition.
It drives us and gives us something everyone can look forward to.
Football, volleyball, cross country, golf, tennis, marching band.
Basketball, wrestling, swim, hockey, bowling, cheer.
Baseball, softball, soccer, track, cross.
DTV Sports.
And welcome back to the district. For nearly 25 years, the Davison Educational Foundation has worked to support its mission to enrich the lives of Davison school children. The nonprofit group is probably best known for awarding classroom mini grants to teachers every year, but that's not all it does. And joining me to talk more about the DEF is its president, Todd Ferguson. And I understand that you have served for some time on the DEF board, but you just became the president of the association?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay.
I have been on the board for about 12 years and became president about a year and a half ago.
Awesome. Well, tell people a little bit about what the DEF does.
The DEF primarily administers a couple of major scholarships for the schools, the Edna Deal Scholarship and the Harfram Scholarship for nursing students. We do the Teacher of the Year, Support Person of the Year that'll be awarded at the end of year luncheon. We do the Teacher Mini Grants, which are also probably the biggest impact on students, would be the mini grants we do, along with the Professional Scholar Award we award every year in June to a teacher to go off and learn more over the summer.
And those people always come back to the school board and tell us about their experience, and they're usually pretty amazing. But because of those mini grants, it makes our teachers think out of the box a little bit and come up with these great ideas for kids.
Absolutely.
It's really something great to have.
Absolutely. Last year we had about 17 applications for about $20-some thousand that were, and we awarded over $8,000, affecting almost 40 teachers in the district. So,
well, it really does help. But these funds to award to teachers don't come out of thin air. So, how do you guys raise funds?
Primarily, payroll deduction comes from the staff of the schools, which is one of our major fundraisers or sources of funding. And the other one is the Great Pumpkin Run we do every October. It's been going on for 6 or 7 years now. It's grown every year. We make about $7,000 to $8,000 a year off of that, and most of that money goes right back into the schools.
That's really, really nice. Now, as the new president, do you have some goals for what you would like to see happen for the DEF?
Yeah, I'd like us to be more visible. We want to be people to know who we are and what we do. That hasn't been a focus for a while, but we want to be more visible. And we'd also like to lean towards different types of funding, whether it's in the fundraiser. We'd like to lean a little bit less on the staff payroll deductions and like to fund ourselves in the future here. So whether it's through legacy funding or just other fundraisers.
So if any former Davison students wanted to give something, is there an easy way for them to do that?
Perfect. Yes, there's a lot of good Davison people around here who would like to help out. We have a link on the Davison Schools website, or also you could get a hold of Michelle Edwards, or we have an email address also, davisoneducationalfoundation@gmail.com.
Well, Mr. Ferguson, thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate all you do. The Davison High School track team has had a busy season. DTV's Becca Allen and Riley Wilcox have their story.
The Davison track and field team's mission is more than just running, throwing, and jumping.
Making sure that we get a name out for ourselves and knowing that we make sure that we represent Davison the way we should.
The best way they do that is by showing their commitment to the sport they love.
We got a lot of hard workers. I think our track team, we embody hard work, and when we get to the meets, it's second nature. You know, we just hop on the track, we're ready.
And this season is not looking any different. These Davison runners certainly pour their hearts out in what they do.
Running and knowing that I earned all the things that I've won.
Aside from the matching uniforms, these runners have a contagious attitude.
A lot of cheering. The more we cheer, the faster we run.
During a race, they'll cheer you on, and it really helps. Gets the adrenaline rushing because even before a race, for me, I get really nervous, and it always just helps.
The amount of cheering and motivation coming from their fellow teammates and coaches generates a family-like atmosphere both on and off the track.
Pretty close. We just talk about silly things throughout the day.
Last year being a freshman, and then coming into this year, like carrying the bonds from all the past juniors and then the sophomores, carrying the bond from there.
In the past, the Davison track team has sent roughly 40 to 50 student athletes to states in the last 5 years, and that legacy doesn't stop there.
I think they're on the come up. We got a lot of younger guys that are running really well.
There's a lot more kids that come in every year, so they all have lots of potential.
The atmosphere and potential of this team will serve the Davison track and field well into its future and in upcoming events, meets, and invitationals. Rebecca Allen and Riley Wilcox, DTV Sports.
DTV headed to Royal Oak on Saturday, April 30th for the Michigan Regional Student Production Awards. The National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences presented Emmy Awards to high schools and college students for their work in categories such as newscasts, documentaries, short films, and public service announcements. DTV was up for 4 awards in 3 different categories, and they won in every category that they were nominated in, 3 Emmy Awards. They were awarded for general assignment for their work on the documentary Domestic Abuse, and in the fiction/nonfiction long-form category, Undrinkable 2, The Crisis Continues was the winner. And they also won Best Newscast. Way to go, guys. You can catch the lighter side of DTV on display coming up on May 31st. They'll be putting on their annual Friday Night Live. It's an hour-long comedy sketch act based off of Saturday Night Live. It features live comedy scenes and digital shorts, all written by DTV students. Don't miss out on all the laughs. This year, senior Calvin Phillips is hosting. It's a fun little story for us to end on today. Talk about a long overdue item. A man that used to work at Davison High School back when the building was first built recently brought back a typewriter that he borrowed 25 years ago and forgot to give back. The man, who never left his name, found it when he was cleaning out a storage locker. He felt it was only right to bring it back to the high school. In today's fast-growing digital age, there is almost no use for a typewriter, but it is a thought that counts. And that's all the time we have for this edition of The District. We'll see you again next month.
Worked on a federal task force with the FBI and the U.S. Marshals. I did that for 3 years. I've done some drug teams. I'm a training officer. Only one person talks in the room at a time, whether that's me or whether that's one of you guys. Fair enough? All right, we're going to get into the program. Down the hall. Tomorrow he's got his books on the table and I throw them out the door. Then next week he's walking down the hall and I trip him and push him into a locker. Am I bullying them now? Who thinks so? Anybody think I'm not bullying them? Okay. All right. You guys are right there. The first time, to clarify, it wasn't technically bullying. Was it wrong? Can I get in trouble for it? Should I have done it? Should I apologize? Yeah, but it's not bullying. We all do stupid stuff once in a while, right? You're having a bad day. I mean, it's not, doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it right, but it happens. Okay? You suffer your consequences, you apologize, and you learn a lesson and life goes on. The bullying is something that goes a little bit beyond that. Something a little bit beyond your kind of normal everyday stuff that goes on. It's when somebody's being targeted specifically, or when you're singling somebody out for a particular reason. I'll give you an example. Again, you guys can read it up here. The long and short of it is, if you guys are in gym later, in the hallway, at lunch, you know, whatever the case may be, and you see a kid getting picked on, Davidson's a big school, chances are you don't know the kid and you don't know the kid picking on him. Is that any of your business? Raise your hand if you think it is. Okay, a couple. Raise your hand if you think it's not. Okay, who doesn't know? Fair enough again, okay. Who has a little brother or sister? Or a little cousin, somebody in your family? Okay, if that was your little brother or sister, would it be your business? Yes. Shouldn't it still be your business whether you know them or not? Yeah. If it was you, would you want somebody to help you out? Yeah. If you were the one getting picked on? The thing is, I'm not saying, and I'm not telling you to, I'm discouraging it, don't go and get directly involved. You don't go break up a fight, you don't interject yourself, you simply walk by a teacher, administrator, coach, whoever happens to be around, one of the trusted adults around, just walk by and, hey, something's going on over there. Can anybody help if we don't know what's going on? No. And again, that's kind of the problem is sometimes people think, well, that's just not my business. But it is. Because when it's happening to you, you'll wonder why nobody helped. Some of it also is, well, I'm sure somebody else already told. I'm sure they already know about that. Anybody ever been in a car accident with your parents, or you witnessed a car accident on the road? Did you call 911? Some did, some didn't. We have scenes that nobody calls the police, because why do you think that is? You just assume somebody else did, right? It's kind of with the bullying and with the problems in school. Don't just assume somebody else did. Your administrators would rather be told by 20 of you than none of you, just like law enforcement. We get that 911 call. If we already know about it, we'll tell you that as soon as we answer the phone. You know, what's the emergency? There's a car crash. Yeah, we're aware of that. Thank you. No harm done, right? But if they didn't know, now you did somebody a solid, right? You did somebody a favor, and somebody's going to get help because of you. That's how you kind of got to look at it. So yeah, it is your business. It's everybody's business. Again, don't get directly involved. Don't intervene yourself. Let somebody else know that has the authority to do that, and we can get it taken care of. Myth, doesn't happen at my school. We all know that's false, right? Who thinks it happens here? Bullying, cyberbullying, all this stuff. Yeah. Statistically speaking, by your guys' age, you've either been a bully, you've been bullied yourself, or you've at least witnessed bullying. Most of you fall in that category where you've witnessed it. Some of you have done something about it, some of you haven't. Some of you have been bullied, some of you have been the bully. Some kids are bullies, and you don't, I think in today's day and age, you don't even realize that you're being a bully. Social media has been horrible for you guys. I'm just being honest with you. The thing with the social media is you guys all hop on it and you hit the like button or you share it or whatever else. You think it's funny. It's not. You're bullying somebody if that's what you're doing. We're going to get into that a little bit more later. Different kinds of bullying. We all know what physical is, right? Hitting, punching, kicking. Are you allowed to put your hands on somebody else? No. If somebody doesn't want you to touch them, you can't touch them. If you do, you're committing a crime. That's called assault. You don't have to physically hurt somebody for it to be assault. You put your hands on somebody else that does not want you to touch them, you're assaulting them. That's a violation of law. You can get charged with a crime for that. That's not just joking around. That's not just goofing around. That's bullying, and it's a criminal offense. It's not a joke, guys. Verbal. We know what that is too. The name calling, the taunting, stuff like that, right? Those are all the obvious ones. How about psychological bullying? What's that? Anybody take a guess? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's not necessarily direct bullying. It's not direct contact. And I've heard some kids use it. They think they found a loophole that, oh, I didn't touch him. I didn't say anything directly to him, so I'm not bullying him. Well, yeah, you are. If I get a hold of Drew and I say, hey, we're going to start a rumor that, what's your name? What is it? Hudson. We're gonna tell everybody that Hudson smells funny today. All right? And you do. You tell everybody in the class. And as you guys are leaving today, everybody who walks by Hudson goes, whew. Are you bullying him? Yeah. Obviously, I'm the bully. I started it, right? Is he a bully? He told everybody to do it, right? Yeah. Did I directly do anything to Hudson? Did he? But are we still bullying him? Is he still feeling bad later on? Maybe the first couple times it was funny, right? Ha guys, funny. Is it funny a year from now? Or when he gets into high school and a rumor now has started that he smells funny and now he's having a hard time through school? It sounds funny, but I've seen it happen. Little things like that you guys don't think about can carry through somebody for the rest of their life. And you did that, and you don't think about it, because at the time, that's what I mean, where you think you're just being funny, but really you're a bully. Rumors themselves. Are rumors generally true? No, but we all spread them, don't we? Yeah. Everyone in here has at one point in time spread a rumor. A rumor is anything that you heard from somebody else and you tell it to somebody else. That's spreading a rumor. It happens. We all do it because we want to be part of the conversation. We want to be part of the circle. We don't care if it's true or not, because we just want it. As long as it's not about us, we'll keep going with it, right? It's not the right thing to do. You know, be the break in the chain that stops spreading the rumor. You all agreed already that you know they're not true, but we'll do it anyway. The ignoring, the isolation, you know, same example of the psychological bullying. If I grab these two guys, hey, we're just going to turn around and look at this guy in class and start pointing and laughing at him. Now, you guys didn't know I just said that, and all of a sudden, a group of kids just turns around and starts pointing and laughing at him. Does that make him feel uncomfortable at least? Yeah. And everybody else in the room is wondering, what are they laughing at? So everyone's paying attention, and everyone else, and I know how you guys are, everyone else is going to join in just because you don't want to be the one getting laughed at, so you're going to join in with the offenders. And that's how it happens. Now this poor kid is thinking, what did I do? I'm just sitting here. And he's left the psychological, it's messing with his head now. He's wondering, what's going on? Does that make sense? Those little things that you guys don't think about can be considered bullying. The new kid comes in at school. Davison's a big school. You guys got new kids probably in and out of here all the time. You're sitting at the lunch table, new kid just drops his tray, sits down and eats, and everybody else at the table picks up and walks away. Is that bullying? Can that be a form of bullying? Yeah. Are you going to be best friends with everybody you meet? Are you going to like everybody you meet?
No.
Should you respect everybody that you meet?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, leads us into the cyberbullying. Who's got one of these? A tablet, an iPod, a video game system, something that gets online or goes on the internet. Yeah, everybody in this room probably had it for a couple of years now. This is what's made bullying even more dangerous and even more long-lasting and even more damaging. Statistically speaking, not you guys particularly, but your age group, you're nastier than any group before you. And it's not really your fault, it's this. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I know what it's like, okay? You guys, this is life for you. When your teacher and I were growing up, we didn't have one of these. I can safely say I know he didn't have one because there was no such thing. They did not exist. The only phone we had was probably hanging on our kitchen wall with a big long cord on it, and you had to dial like that. You guys remember that? Have you seen one before, the rotary dial phone? You saw it on like the History Channel or something for you guys? Your grandma's house, right? Okay. This is a long way from that, isn't it? You guys can be in constant contact with one another. The social media pages is where the bullying has gotten ridiculous. I use Facebook as an example because I'm old and it's really the only one I'm very familiar with. I don't use social media a whole lot. I think it causes nothing but trouble. And in fact, in my opinion, that's all it's done for you guys is cause trouble. Again, I didn't have none of this stuff. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have a cell phone. There was no such thing, and I would not trade places with you guys for anything. I do not look back and say, man, I wish I had that when I was a kid. I'm glad I didn't, because I got to experience other things outside of just sitting around all day with the phone in my hand. And again, I'm not knocking anybody. It's the generation. It's the way things have gone. But I'm glad I didn't have that to contend with, or with the cyberbullying. You know, on Facebook, you post something, and we had a school actually posted something on a web app or whatever it was about vote for the ugliest girl in school. School only had a little over 300 kids in it total. It was a private school. Over 200 of the kids actually voted. Is that bullying? Every kid who voted is probably a bigger bully than the kid who started the site. Because does that site exist if people don't vote? No. That bully fails miserably if nobody votes, and then he looks like the bad person. But those kids all made that happen. Is there something wrong with that? Yes. Yeah, again, and you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have to contend with that. Can you imagine what this poor girl felt like when she logs onto her social media and that's the first thing she sees in the morning? How would that make you feel? But you don't think, yeah, horrible, right? Anyone in this room wouldn't like that feeling. You got to think about stuff like that. Bullies are more likely to fight, drink, smoke, get expelled from school, have friends that are just like themselves. Statistically speaking, bullies from 6th to 9th grade, you will continue that behavior for the rest of your life. It's learned behavior. Now it's become who you are. You are 60% more likely to have at least one criminal conviction by the time you're age 24. You'll be in jail or prison at least once by the time you're age 24. That's a fact. It's going to happen. It's not fun. It's not just messing around. It's not one of those things. You guys got to realize the long-lasting consequences that stuff like this has. It has consequences on your future employment, future college applications. Colleges find out about stuff like this. They don't want you at their college. They don't want the trouble. Nobody wants trouble at their campus. And if you're a troublemaker in the past, they're going to assume you're going to be it in the future, and they're not going to take you. Here's one of the laws that we use as far as cyberbullying goes: malicious use of a telecommunication device or a service provider. Do you know what that is? One of these. Anything that goes online, anything you do online, if you use it to intimidate, threaten, harass, molest, or annoy another person, or to simply disturb the peace and quiet of another person by any of these things here. I don't know if we can kill the lights here a little bit. So that you guys can see some of this, all these different things. Basically what this is saying is when you hit that like button on Facebook, somebody posted something nasty and you hit the like button, you just used a service provider to, I'm quite certain, at least annoy or disturb the peace of another, right? You committed a crime. 6-month misdemeanor. Go to jail for 6 months and or $1,000 fine for something that you thought was no big deal. Law enforcement didn't used to need to get involved with stuff like this. Do you think we have better things to do than have to come in and deal with kids who don't get it, that you can't do that to one another? Now kids are winding up with criminal records over something that should have never happened in the first place if you had just used your head or knew what it was that you were doing, right? That's a lot of this today. I'm not here to blame or shame anybody. A lot of this is to let you guys know what things are so that if you're doing it, you can stop. What's one thing you can always do if you realize, I don't care, after this, hey, you know what, I think I might have wronged someone. What can you always do? That's what I'm looking for, apologize. I don't care if it's 10 years later, guys. If you wrong somebody and you let them know later, you know what, I was wrong. That's gonna feel good. If somebody, we all know, we've all been in arguments before, and when your friend says, you know what, I'm sorry, it was my fault, it's kind of hard to stay mad at him. Isn't it? So you're like, okay. He knows, it's cool, man, all right? I get it. You understand. That's how it works. It's not that hard to do. Anybody have any questions about any of the bowling, what it is, what it isn't, what the laws are? Real quick, I'm just going to tell you about another law that we use. Who knows what stalking is, or what you think it is? Go ahead. Can you tell me? Following somebody? Anything else? Anybody have something different?
Okay, like kind of sneak, like spying on them in a way.
Okay. And that's what generally you guys think stalking is. You see it on TV, the peepers, you know, the following somebody around or spying on them, stuff like that. Stalking, guys, by definition, is 2 or more unwanted contacts after being asked to stop. 2 or more unwanted contacts after being asked to stop. Now, when I threw Drew's shoe down the hallway, he probably told me to knock it off, didn't he? Yeah. And then the next day, when I tripped him when he was going down the hallway, he probably told me to knock it off again, didn't he? So that third day, when I took his books and threw him down the hallway, by definition, I'm stalking him. I just committed a 1-year misdemeanor. Sounds funny. That's one of the laws I've applied before to kids doing this. Charge them with stalking. By definition, that's what you're doing. But nobody thinks about stuff like that. The laws that are on the books that can get you guys in trouble that you don't even think about or realize that are there. And technically under the law, ignorance is no excuse, meaning not knowing about the law doesn't exempt you from having to follow it. It's your responsibility to know the rules and the laws of the communities that you live in. That's why I'm here to let you know about a lot of the common ones. One of the biggest things we get with the stalking is the boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. You break up and she says, leave me alone, and you keep texting her. By definition, you committed a 1-year misdemeanor. If you get charged with it and then you do it again, now it's aggravated stalking. You just bumped it up to a felony. That's serious stuff, isn't it? For something you didn't think any big deal. Oh, I'm just trying to get her to talk to me. If she says leave me alone, you got to leave her alone. End of story, bottom line, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right. What's this picture of? Who's this? Who can tell me? Make your history teachers proud. Neil Armstrong. What year was that? What year did we first land on the moon? What? 19 what? Close. Anybody know? No. One more. 1969. You guys were all right around there. Nobody hit it. 1969. Anybody know what year the first airplane flight, the official recorded airplane flight, took place? 1909. Is that a short time? 60 years is not that long of a time, is it? When you consider the first plane, paper wings, barely went anywhere, and then you put a person in a spaceship, blasted off the Earth, landed on the moon, got out, walked around, brought stuff back, came back, and everybody was okay, right? Think that took a lot of technology to do that? Absolutely. Again, who has one of these? Everybody in the room? The amount of technology it took to put a man on the moon in 1969, you're holding more technology than that in your hand every day. You guys don't think about that. Did computers exist in 1969? Yeah, they did. They were about the size of this room, if not bigger. All they were was data processors. Who's got one of those fancy math calculators? You know, it does all the to the third power and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that calculator does more than a computer did in 1969. That computer was data. They used it in wartime for deciphering codes, things like that. You put information into it, and it would kind of kick out patterns. It would figure stuff out for you, but you had to put a lot of information into it first. Today, you simply type one word into a search bar, and you get thousands of returns, don't you? Sometimes stuff you didn't even want, but that's what you get. Things have changed, and that's how much power you guys are holding in your hand every day. You know, when you turn 16, do we just give you the keys and say, here you go, congratulations? What do you have to do? Driver's training? What's involved in driver's training? You have to take tests, written tests. You have to study, you have to read stuff. Then you have to get in a car. You have to do road tests. And then usually for the first year to 2 years, you can't drive without a parent or whoever your parents designated to be your supervisor to drive in the car. Then you can't drive with anyone else in the car. Can't use the phone. We have lots of rules on that, don't we? So that you're safe about it. Yeah, we gave all of you this and just said, here you go, keys to the world, it's all yours. And we didn't give you any training, we didn't give you any instructions, and you guys all think you know how to use it. There's not a person in this room with the intelligence or the maturity to deal with everything this has to offer. I'm going to include myself and your instructors with that. This has more to it than anyone in this room will ever be able to figure out. There's people who spend their whole lives doing nothing but computer stuff, and there's stuff they can't figure out. Apple, for example, about a year or so ago had a case where the government was trying to get into an Apple phone. It was the new phone. Oh, it's completely unbreakable. Suspected terrorist, FBI is getting search warrants, and Apple's fighting it, saying, no, we can't break the security of this. You know, Apple thought they had everything nailed, right? Is there a lot of smart people, high-paid people that do nothing but computers with Apple? Yeah, do you know what happened a couple days later? Some hacker contacted the FBI and said, I can do it. A week later, he did. He was in the phone. There's always somebody smarter out there, isn't there? Always somebody out there who can get into your stuff. And that's what you guys need to be aware of. If Apple can't keep everything private, do you think you can? Do you think you guys can keep somebody from finding all your stuff? No, you can't. There is no possible way. I can't. I have people in Lansing that I could give your phone to right now. If I had cause to take your phone, they're going to show me every text message you've ever sent or received, every picture you've ever sent or received, every website you've ever visited. That's what's happening with your high school counterparts right now. Somebody did some inappropriate stuff, sending pictures, inappropriate pictures back and forth. Some kid posted them online. All it took was for us, the state police, we got a hold of one phone. From there, oh, it went to these 10 people. Now we grabbed these 10 phones. Oh, it went to these 10 people and received. We just kept following phones, 100 people involved. You can't hide it. They can't even deny that they did it. There it is, proof positive right there. There's kids getting charged with felonies right now. There will be. That's the seriousness of this and why we're here to talk to you guys. I don't want to see any one of you guys make a mistake and have it turn into a life-altering mistake that you can't change. You can't unring the bell, guys. Once you've done it, it's too late. Social media, who's on them? Everybody, right? I mean, we all get on them because our friends and our family and stuff like that. You know, we like seeing different stuff. But there's bad people on there too, isn't there? Criminals. I'm just going to be blunt with you. Yeah, the sexual predators, which you guys are their target right now. For boys, it's start at the age of 12 is when they're targeting you guys. Boys can be victims. This is one of the topics that we separate you guys for. There's people out there who are trying to do nasty things to little boys, young men, girls. We think, and I know I was your age once. It was a long time ago, but I was there. I barely remember it, but you know, we're not raised that way, right? We can't be victims. That can't happen to us. Guys can't be sexually assaulted. Yeah, you can, and it happens in different ways. Blackmail through social media. You're talking to somebody online, you think you're talking to somebody, you think you know who that person is, another girl on the other line, you're sending those inappropriate photos back and forth. Turns out this is a 60-year-old man on the other line. Now he's telling you, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to blackmail you with this. I'm going to send this to all your friends, to all your family. And I'm not making this up, guys. This has happened. Now that boy does what he has to do, right? He doesn't want to, but he doesn't want everybody to know what he did either. So now he's got to keep the lies, keep the nasty stuff going, and he feels trapped. That's how bad things happen. It can happen to anyone just that easily, just that quickly. We already discussed nothing you do online is private. Once you hit that send button, you have lost all control. You lost all the rights to it. The biggest thing I get from kids your age is, you guys are all, why are you in my business? Why are you up all in my business? Everything you do, you post online. I can find out everything about probably any one of you in here by following your Twitter, your Instagram, your Snapchat, or your Facebook. And then when somebody knows your business, you're all upset with them. Why do you guys feel the need to tell everybody every portion of your life? I'm going to give you a hint. Nobody cares what you had for breakfast this morning. We don't need pictures of it. Nobody cares that you checked in at Walmart. Congratulations for being average. I mean, I don't know what the fascination is with feeling the need to let everybody know what you're doing in every aspect of your life. Not only do we, the people who care, you don't want to care. Those are the bad people, the predators, the criminals. Nobody else cares, guys. Quit thinking that that's how we justify our existence, is by how many followers we have on our social media. 10 years from now, it will mean absolutely nothing. When life really means something, what you did here will mean nothing. How popular you are not, won't mean anything. Nobody will care. Nothing can be permanently erased. Again, we already used the example of taking his phone. I can see everything he's ever done. Everything. Who's done something on their phone that they probably wouldn't want somebody like their grandmother to see? Yeah, I'll be included in that. I'm not. We've all done something, right? If you're not raising your hand, I'm going to take a wild guess here and say you're not being honest. Because we all have. But guys, that's the standard. My grandmother's 88 years old. I just got back from Kentucky. I was at her 88th birthday. She still tries to, God bless her, use the social media and, tries so that she can see pictures of her grandkids and her great-grandkids and stuff like that. Here's one rule I use. If I'd be ashamed of my grandmother seeing it, I don't do it. It's that simple. I call it the grandma standard. If you don't want your grandma to see it, you shouldn't be putting it out there for anybody to see. Because when you put it on social media, it's not just being seen by your friends. I don't care if it's just a text message. Sooner or later, it could be a year or 2 years from now, that can come back to bite you. Nothing can be permanently erased. Nothing you do can be permanently erased. ID theft, we already talked about that. The bullying, which is huge. I'm going to get into a story about that in a little bit. Future college and employment failure. Colleges are looking at your guys' social media stuff right now. When you get to that application age, as soon as you're doing applications when you get into high school, 10th, 11th grade, they're looking at your social media. I had a girl, I just found this story out recently from a family member of hers. She had a $17,000 a year scholarship to a university for soccer, athletics. School came across something she did in high school, posted online at a party, drinking underage, doing some other stuff she should have been ashamed of in the first place. They pulled her scholarship. She is no longer going to that university for free. Imagine what her parents feel. If that was my daughter, I'll be real honest with you, I'm not paying for her college now. She blew it. Your mistakes should not be my consequences, should they? No, she was old enough to know better at the time. She's on her own. Figure out your way to get to college now. You thought you were big and bad and cool at the time. Live with it. That's a hard lesson learned, isn't it? Can she recover from that? Probably. Years. She's not going to get that schooling that she got. Now she'll probably be in debt the rest of her life on college loans with something she could have had absolutely free. Again, guys, I know you're going to do stuff that you shouldn't do. Quit telling everybody about it. Quit posting it on social media. It's that simple. Sexting. This is what got your high school counterparts in a whole lot of trouble. Sexting. This is all the common things that we hear. It's harmless fun between friends. It's okay if you're 16. It's okay if you're dating. That's the biggest problem that we have. It's just a prank. You can't go to jail for it. One thing you can go to jail for it, guys. Even at your age, you can be charged with the crime. Will you go to jail in the traditional sense? No. There's juvenile institutions for that. You can't do any of this stuff, guys. None of it. The high school kids, what they were doing, they were taking naked photographs of themselves and sending them back and forth. Kids were collecting them, sending them out to everybody else, posted a web page with all the pictures on it. You can't do that. You can't take pictures of yourself, period. It's illegal. We're going to get into that in a minute. You guys need to start thinking about consequences here. What's this picture of? Anybody know who it is? Arnold Schwarzenegger. 18 to vote, right? How old you got to be to get your driver's license? Unrestricted. Generally, you're 17 before you get an unrestricted where you can just hop in the car by yourself. How about this? What's this picture of? Tattoos, piercings. Anybody know who this is? This is my brother. No, I'm just kidding. It's not my brother. But you guys all felt bad for a minute, whoever laughed, right? All right. How old you got to be to get tattoos or piercings? To just walk in by yourself without parents or anything else? 18. How about alcohol in the state of Michigan? Because that's where we live, not in Canada. 21. Guys, just so you know, that's to possess, consume, be around. If you're driving in a car and you got a bottle of alcohol in the back and you get pulled over and you're not 21, you get charged with minor in possession. There is no, well, my mom left it there. You are responsible for what's in your vehicle. Just a lesson for the future. As long as it's not open. Now, something that's not up here, but how about tobacco? 18. That's e-cigarettes, that's vaping, that's chewing tobacco, that's any of that. You have to be 18. There's no exceptions. So does every 18-year-old go out and buy tobacco as soon as they turn 18? No. Does every 18-year-old, as soon as they turn 18, go out and get a bunch of tattoos and piercings? No. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right, guys? There's lots of things in life that just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right? Remember that. What's the legal age of consent to have sex in the state of Michigan? What'd you say? 18. Anybody think any different? Raise your hand. What is it? 16. Anybody think any different? I told my daughter it's 45, and I plan on sticking to that. It's 16. Legal age of consent in Michigan is 16. Now, you guys, I tell you this because it's the law, and you have a right to know what the law is. But with that being said, 16 is 16. There's no exception to that. Well, I'm 16 and she's 15. You've both just committed a felony. Well, I'm 15 and she's 15, so it's okay. You've both just committed a felony. I had one girl say, well, my mom said it was okay. Then your mom's going to jail too, because your mom does not have the right to violate the law. There's no exception to this, guys. You guys got to remember that. And this comes into play as you get older. You're in high school, or even now, you know, you're a senior dating the sophomore. You're 18 and she's 15. Don't get yourselves into trouble. There is no consent exception to that if she or you are not 16 years of age. It's a crime, plain and simple. Now, what's the minimum legal age to appear in pornographic material? 18. Anybody think different? Okay, never. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Every 16-year-old shouldn't be out getting involved in a sexual relationship, right? No. Do you see the difference in the ages here, though? You can do one thing at 16, but if you take pictures of it before you're 18, you've committed a crime. That's where the high school kids, and it's not just Davison. I have cases at schools all throughout this county, all throughout the state. You can't do it. Sexually abusive material, child pornography, for the general term for it, appears to include a child less than 18. If the average person would see it as sexually abusive, the average person is your grandma, guys, and grandma thinks everything's nasty, don't she? Yeah, if your grandma would think it's nasty, it's probably illegal too. Now, I'm not saying you guys are at the beach and you're taking pictures in your bathing suits, you know, you're playing volleyball or whatever. It's not what I'm talking about. But now, a bathing suit is meant to be seen, right? You wear your bathing suit, whatever style it is, that's meant to be seen. Now, by the same token, you're at home and you take a picture of yourself in your underwear, that's illegal for you underage. Is underwear meant to be seen? Would the average person, would grandma see a difference between your bathing suit and your underwear? So does the average person. That's illegal. It's another loophole that kids think they found. Oh, I'm in my underwear. The girl, oh, I'm in my bra and underwear. It's just like a bathing suit, but it's not a bathing suit. It's illegal. You can't ask for it. If they send it to you, you're in possession of child pornography now. That's what you guys got to understand. Don't play the, well, I didn't ask for it, so it's not my problem. Yeah, it still is. If it's on your phone, you're in possession of it. To persuade, engage, fund, or produce. Persuading, guys, that's you. When you ask, beg, or plead with these girls to send you an inappropriate photograph, You're persuading them to do something they would not otherwise have done. It can be as simple as asking, or demanding, or blackmailing, or threatening. Don't ever tell, if you loved me, you would do this. That's such a crock, and you all know it. If you loved them, you wouldn't ask them to do it. If you cared about them, you wouldn't ask them to do it. You wouldn't ask them to violate the law. Because to persuade asking and now produce, she did it for you, you guys both just committed a 20-year felony. Not funny anymore, is it? I use the example because it starts off funny. I'm 16, I'm a high school, let's say, sophomore. I'm in the shower in the morning. I think it's going to be funny to take a picture of my butt and send it to everybody. Sounds funny, right? Until you realize I just committed a 20-year felony. And each person I send it to, that's another 20 years. I send it to 10 people, that's 20 years times 10. I took 3 of those pictures, that's 20 years times 3. Not funny anymore, is it? For something, that's what I mean. You guys sometimes just think stuff is no big deal. It's just fun. It's not. You can't do it. It's illegal. To distribute, you took the picture, now I sent it. On top of that 20 years, add another 7. That's 27 years for that one picture I took. Obviously, I took it and I sent it out. Possession is just a tag on. That's another 4 years. 31 years worth of felonies for that one picture I took of my butt in the shower because I thought it was going to be funny. It's not funny when you're sitting in a jail cell somewhere anymore, is it? Are you regretting doing it now? And you're thinking, why did I do that? Don't do it. That's what I'm here to save you guys from making stupid mistakes that can cost you your lives, your careers, your sports, your athletics, anything that's important to you. Doing that stuff now will ruin that at some point in time. It's not a matter of if you get caught, it's when. Sooner or later, it comes out. We had a case in Oakland County, it took up to a year. Kids with the sexting, sending stuff back and forth on their phones. By the time we finished following all the phones, it was a year later. Those kids probably thought, I'm safe, nothing happened. Until that year later, boom, busted. Still happened. Now I get the question, what if somebody sends me something and I don't want it? You got to tell somebody. You've got to tell somebody. You can't just delete it and think it went away. Now the other thing, if I am going through Drew's phone at some point and I see he received an inappropriate photograph and he deleted it right away, and he tells me later, I didn't want it, do I believe him? Probably. He deleted it right away, right? Now I see, because I can tell when you deleted it and when you got it. He didn't delete it for a year, and he says, well, I didn't want that. Do I believe him? If you didn't want it, you wouldn't have kept it for a year, right? Make sense? Keep that in mind. Bottom line, what I would do, tell somebody that this happened. You didn't do anything wrong because somebody sent you something. You're not going to get in trouble for that, but you got to let somebody know. All right, a couple different case reviews. I'm going to skip to the last one. Long story, this was a 15-year-old girl, sent pictures to a 27-year-old man online. She didn't know he was 27 at the time. He lied to her. She thought it was a boy her age. But this is how you guys get yourselves into trouble. You're too trusting online. I could take any one of your first and last names if you had a Facebook page. I could call my people in Lansing. They'd be hacked into your Facebook page before I hung up the phone. I could talk to everybody on your contact list as if they're you. Could that be dangerous? Yeah. You guys got to quit trusting that what happens online is what you think it is. There's too many people out there who make a living off of lying to you guys. State police has fake Facebook pages. Did you know that? So does sheriff's departments. So does the FBI. There's a good chance one of you in this room are friends with one of us and you don't even know it. That's how carelessly, though, that you guys just accept friend requests. Followers, stuff like that. We don't do it to get you guys in trouble. We're not after you guys. We're after the guys who are coming after you guys to do bad stuff. That's why we have those pages. I'm going to cut to the last one here in essence of time. Jessie Logan, average high school girl, good grades, has a boyfriend. During the course of the relationship, they had sent inappropriate photographs to each other. Well, they broke up. She broke up with him. He's not happy. He's going to get back at her, right? You know what he does? Yeah. Can you imagine walking in today, any one of you guys, and post it all along the room and down the hallway as nasty pictures of you? You'd all turn around and leave. That'd be embarrassing and be humiliating. That's what this guy did. Put him on social media, sent him to her friends, her family, grandparents. Everybody saw this stuff out there. Would that be humiliating? Would you want to come to school the next day? Neither did she. She started skipping school. Things got worse. All the kids in school calling her whore, tramp, slut, and nastier things that are out there now. I know terminology has changed, but it's the same principle. Everybody's laughing at her. She changes schools. All right, her parents actually pick up, move. Did that stop it? Why? Social media. Kids at the new school knew about her before she got there, didn't they? Again, when we were growing up, that wouldn't have happened. We'd have been safe moving. Nobody would have knew who we were, could have started over. We didn't have to deal with this stuff. Jessie goes on to school, onto the news. They block her face, they block her voice, and she's telling her story, telling kids like you what happened to her. Kind of what I'm doing now, to beg and plead with you guys, don't do this. Don't ruin your lives over this. Things got so bad for her, she hung herself 2 months later. She committed suicide. Guys, a human being's greatest instinct is self-preservation. Do you know how bad things have to be to take your own life? That's how bad things got for her. This is not the only case. This is just an example that I use, and it kind of ties everything together, doesn't it? The bullying, the social media, the sexting, everything comes to a head, and now you see the realness of all this. This girl here, how about the ex-boyfriend who did all this? Can he be charged with a crime? Yes. He can be charged with murder or an accessory to. Even without that, do you think he meant for her to die? No. Does he have to live with that the rest of his life? Whether he gets charged with the crime or not, does he know he killed her? Yeah. Guys, even people who have to do that, military, we all know what PTSD is, post-traumatic stress disorder, military, law enforcement, who have to take a life in the course of their job, their duties, completely lawful, completely, they had no other choice, they never get over it. Most people suffer psychological effects the rest of their life. My grandfather was in World War II, recently passed, but towards his end, when he started getting dementia and things like that, he was reliving the war for his last 2 years of his life. He was reliving the stuff that he had to do. That's what's going to happen to this kid. That's what's going to happen to any of you if somebody does something to themselves because of something that you did. It's not only the legal consequences. Throw that all out the window. I don't want the rest of your lives to be ruined, or you guys have to deal with this because you made some stupid mistake when you were in grade school, middle school, or high school. It's just not worth it.